NBA, its teams and players are committed to being more environmentally friendly. They'll hold NBA Green Week, presented by Sprint, April 4th through the 11th. The NBA will participate in community service projects, recycling programs, green giveaways, auctions, and promotions to encourage fans to go green. What to watch for later tonight, Nets and Lakers, 10:30 Eastern from inside of Staples Center. Lakers without Andrew Bynum out with that sprained knee. See how Kobe and Al will deal with the high-scoring Darren Williams. And the Nets. For more on L.A., we turn inside Staples Center to welcome in J.A. Adande. And J.A., it had been a breakout season for Andrew Bynum, but he might be getting some of that all-star bonus back based on things that have happened over the past 7 days. What can you tell us about that?
Well, ESPNLA.com reported today that Andrew Bynum has had to pay some fines for basically infractions that he's committed. There's been a lot of pushback, a lot of separation from Andrew Bynum from his teammates. Obviously, he hasn't taken to every move that Mike Brown has made, particularly the benching in Golden State when he attempted that three-pointer. You also notices a disconnect with his teammates. He won't always take the court with them for pregame warm-ups. Sometimes he's lingering in the background, warming up on his own in the tunnel. Just issues with playing music in the locker rooms. A lot of small things, but it's all kind of added up to a guy that's kind of feeling himself and really just kind of coming into his own. I think feeling a little emboldened by that all-star selection. I talked about that with Kobe Bryant in our discussion that we had a short while ago. And we also talked about, initially, Kobe's reaction and how he's coping, the effect fatigue is having on his shooting this season.
So we have a very talented ball club. So although I haven't been shooting the ball pretty, as well as I would like, still have to do other facets of the game to try to help us get through the stretch.
You still feel that this team has the talent and all the pieces it needs to compete for a championship?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been saying that all along. People don't tend to listen, and we don't have the sexy roster that some of the other ball clubs have. But I believe in what we have here, and I think at the end of the day, we'll be there.
You like it this way? This is the first time in a while that you guys haven't been perceived as the favorites.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine by us. I mean, we're kind of the old dogs running around here, and it's good for us to kind of be below the radar, or as much below the radar as we can be. Being in Los Angeles, everything seems to be magnified, but it's okay.
Speaking of magnified, you were benched in the fourth quarter by Mike Brown. That was something that had potential to blow up, but you really seemed to tamp it down immediately.
I think people took that out of context. Really, I mean, it's not a bench. I mean, if you look at other players around the league, they sit down during that stretch as well. I think people kind of took it and ran with that just because I'm normally playing the entire fourth quarter. So I don't really know, why people make such a big deal out of that situation.
You feel it's important to show support for Mike Brown and not make that a bigger situation?
I mean, there's nothing to make out of it. But being in Los Angeles, like I said, as much, being below the radar for us is it's a little different than most teams.
What do you make of all the stuff that's been going on with Andrew Bynum lately? Benching on his part by Mike Brown, a little bit more severe than what you went through. Some of his pushback, and then ESPN LA reported today that he's been fined for various indiscretions by the team this year. Do you see it as your role at all to kind of rein Andrew in, or is this just the growing pains of a young guy finding his place in this league?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of the growing pains for him. He's just kind of trying to figure out where his niche is going to be, and also for Mike trying to figure out how he's going to coach him. What type of buttons does he need to push, to get the most out of Andrew. I think it's kind of a learning process for both of them, and maybe showing Andrew's just going through the process of kind of spreading his wings a little bit and figuring out his game and getting used to all the adulation that comes along with the success that he's having.
Finally, you've seen the excitement generated in this town by Magic Johnson buying the Dodgers. Have you thought about buying a team or being a part of an ownership group of a major league team?
No.
What are you going to do when you're done there?
Not going to do that. That's just not for me.
Kobe Bryant, thank you.
Now, Mike Brown has said he intends to really kind of diminish Kobe Bryant's minutes a little bit here as we get down the stretch so he can have him better prepared for the playoffs. The problem is they're going to need him because they're still fighting for position. They lead the Clippers by 1 game for the Pacific Division League. They'll play the Clippers tomorrow night. First, they have to get through the Nets tonight. Let's get back to you in the studio.
All right, Jay, thanks very much. Appreciate it. We look forward to your conversation later in the show with Darren Williams, we hope. Legs, what do did you take away from what Kobe had to say about the Andrew Bynum question? He said, Bynum's going through some growing pains. This isn't a guy who's been in the league 2-3 years. He's been in the league now for 7-8 years, number one. And number two, he called it a learning process for the two of them. What did you read between the lines there?
Well, regardless of how long you've been in the league, if you started from a certain maturity base, okay, it could take you longer. And I think for Andrew Bynum, he definitely is feeling like he's arrived. He's had more monster-type games this year than all the rest of his seasons combined, really. And he's starting to feel like, hey, you know what, people call me the second best center in the league. I think I'm the best center in the league, and I might be the best center in the league. So I have a right to do certain things. And it's kind of odd the way he's expressing himself right now. But I do know if he doesn't get that under control and he's not in the right place mentally when the playoffs start, the Lakers could get knocked out in the first round. If he is right, this is a team that could find themselves at the conference finals, maybe all the way in the NBA finals. That's how important he is and what a hinge he is for this team when he plays right and plays aggressively.
Yeah, you said some key points there, Legs. You talk about maturity level. You know, early on in his career, he didn't have the success that he had just yet, or I should say, he wasn't an all-star. He saw Pau Gasol getting a lot of the touches, and now that's kind of moved towards him. Instead of just celebrating it and continuing to do the best he can, he's starting, as he said, feel himself. He's taking three-point shots early in the clock. It's not as if it was a desperation three or anything like that. This was just something he came down, launched it up, but he didn't even get back on defense. David Lee passed him, lays the ball up, and he's looking like, you know, so what? You know, I can do this because I'm an all-star now. That is not the way you act when you are an all-star, and you need to deal with this right now because, as Leg said, you can right the ship now as far as where you can be towards the end of the season, or it could be an early exit.
Deal with this, and who deals with it, right? It's the coach, and then it's the players policing each other. Kobe Bryant doesn't have time for this. Pau Gasol, no time for this. Those two guys are two of the most professional, established players in the league. And when I say professional, they just bring it each and every day. And Bynum and this distraction and this swirling of stuff and the immature grin on the face, somebody's got to police that. You know in your locker room who would have done it.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny to me for a player to even, after he's been in the league this
Right.
amount of time, to now start to act this way, you know, feeling as if he has arrived or he's owed something because of, you know what, if there's anybody that has earned the right to do something like that, it would be Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, they're right.
You know?
And the other thing about that, you know, I would say this all the time with Andrew Bynum. Look, listen, you're the third option for the most part. Right now, you have a lot of nights where you're the second option. You've never been the first option. It's a lot different going to a team and being that guy. That you've got to give us 25 and 15 every night, the way Dwight Howard has done for years. So he's had the benefit of being, a lot of times, a decoy and playing off of Kobe and Powell. So he needs to make sure he understands his pecking order. And listen, there's no question you can be dominant, young fella, but you have to bring it every night and be consistent. And you can't go through these little temper tantrums or whatever it is you're having right now because it's a distraction to your team and it could be something that costs your team an opportunity to play for a championship.
You wonder if the combination of becoming a first-time All-Star starter and living in Los Angeles might be the case where it's gotten to Bynum on that front just a bit. Meantime, Bruce, you talked about Kobe Bryant and how he's been flourishing offensively in Mike Brown's system. I thought all the talk all season long is that, you know what, the Lakers are struggling offensively with Mike Brown. How is it then that you think that Kobe is flourishing under Brown?
Well, because you take away the triangle offense, now he's going back to a basic NBA-style offense where it's a cut here, post up there, down screen here, you know, swing the ball to Kobe. It's no longer a rhythm offense where Kobe brings the ball up, he hits a side elbow or he hits the elbow and he makes a cut. It's not about him creating so much off the dribble anymore, but he's getting a lot of these touches and isolations within the confines of the offense that Mike Brown has conducted for them.
Tom, do you think that Kobe Bryant should be the NBA MVP this season?
No, I don't think he should be the MVP, but what's remarkable when we go back to that graphic and the statistical drop-off is just how close he is to what he was at his peak. I mean, this finish for him in his amazing career is just incredible. Look at these advanced statistics. So PER is player efficiency rating. It measures how much you get done per minute. Pretty close. True shooting percentage factors in free throws and three-pointers and weights it. There's a drop-off there, and he's getting more usage, which means the play finishes with him more often. So we're back to him being more of a volume player to get the numbers. He's not quite as efficient. Of course, he had Shaq back then, and that ball better finish with Shaq. But the grand finale, the beginning of the grand finale of his career, guys, I mean, can you believe it? Leading the league in scoring, #1 in total minutes at his age, had a bad knee a little while ago. I mean, it's remarkable.
You know, it speaks of his mental capacity, and how strong he is mentally. He was a player when I played, I knew he was going to play hard every single minute on the floor. And that's something that you don't necessarily get from a lot of players. I remember a lot of players who quit on me and weren't in attack mode for the whole game. But Kobe, he was a player that was going to continuously attack and try his best to will his team to win. And if those guys weren't winning, he didn't mind shooting 40 shots in a game.
Based on the way he looked a year ago with the lack of lift on his jump shot, the number of contested looks he had, he never seemed to be able to turn the corner on a guy and get all the way to the rim. He became a mid-range game player. I never thought he'd see the upside of 25 points a game again, much less hovering around 30. So it is pretty remarkable what he has done. New coach, new system, and really rebuilt knee. His knee feels better, and that's the main reason he's able to do some of the explosive type things that he did prior to last season, because I thought he really took a major step back a year ago, but he just goes to show you how competitive he is. He's not ready to ride off into the sunset just yet. And he made a comment recently where he said, if you think I'm going to be one of those guys that sticks around and averages 18 points a game, that's not for me. So Kobe wants to go out on top. Another title he desperately craves, and maybe a scoring title or an MVP along with it.
Right, I asked Tom about the MVP. It's incredible to think that Kobe Bryant has won only one MVP in his career. And so if he never adds to that total legs, if he doesn't win MVP this season, who is the NBA MVP?
Well, I'll tell you what, for me, up until a month ago, it was LeBron James, a lock. I said, give it to him now. There's nobody impacting the game the way that this guy is. And he's had a rough stretch here where he has not played particularly well. They're losing games. You look up and you say, is Kevin Durant taking this thing and wrestling it right out of his hands? Big matchup tomorrow night. I mean, there's a lot more at stake than just those two teams battling.
It's kind of like that relay race, and everybody's like, oh no, someone's getting snatched. And you're looking over your shoulder and you see that guy coming behind you. That's what Kevin Durant is doing right now. I agree with you. I had LeBron James early on, and because of things of late, I mean, LeBron is having the best year of his career, but Kevin Durant is doing something special right now.
Well, LeBron's first 2/3 of the season were incredible, particularly when you stack him up against his other MVP years. He had improved so much. But the MVP race, and this is maybe why Kobe's only won one, it's always about a little sexier decision. It's what's out there, and Kevin Durant's time has come. So from a voting standpoint, you know, you're going to give it to LeBron for his third, okay, or is it Durant his first, and tie goes to the new guy, it seems.
And also, a lot of times in MVP races, it's sprinting through the wire. And right now, LeBron's not doing that, and he still has time. But Kevin Durant is right now. He's playing at a really high level. If he keeps that up, LeBron James might have seen that slip out of his hands over the last 3 weeks.
We're going to turn our attention from the NBA MVP to the NCAA Most Outstanding Player. Anthony Davis led Kentucky to a national title last night. Wait till you hear what NBA Hall of Famer Larry Brown had to say, what might be his impact on the NBA next season. Plus, the Grizz coming off a big road win in OKC last night. How are they faring at home against Golden State tonight? Find out.
Good night.